We are in the original orchard where this all started, actually. We're just north of Strängnäs and just south of Enköping. So just an hour outside of Stockholm and about 45 minutes from our cidery. The quality of fruit here is unbelievable. This is where we get a large amount of the fruit that we use for what's now called northern tropics. There's a few beautiful pear trees behind us, Alexander Lucas, that are very old, and we love those pears. First day we came here, we were picking one apple at a time, but now we shake.
And we have invited a lot of people, so it's like an open picking, you can say.
So this year we've picked like maybe about 10 tons. I think maybe 15 tons will come up to, but we probably have to come up to 40 tons to produce 30,000 liters or 30,000 bottles of ciders.
Are all your ciders bone dry?
Everything ferments out dry. I mean, as much as we love cider, we're definitely inspired by wine, and in particular natural wine has been kind of our inspiration. So skin macerated white wines, and so that's why we take this approach that we do with the longer maceration with the whole pulp. In particular, Tobias and I, we visited Friuli and just over the border into Slovenia a bunch of years back, and visited Radikon and Paraskos and Gravner and just absolutely beautiful wines. Yeah, we try to take that same approach to not only with the actual apples, but with the other fruit as well. We do longer macerations with blueberries and plums and stuff, wet macerations with those. So our background is definitely more as wine drinkers that has gotten us to this point, but as we get more into cider making and exploring other ciders, we've become more inspired by other people's ciders. So there's a lot of wonderful cider happening right now in Sweden in particular, in the Scandinavias, I would say in general. You could call it sparkling cider as well, yeah. But because we are more inspired by the wine side of things, calling it a pet nat makes more sense for us.
It's alive. So yeah, this is Northern Tropics. Northern Tropics is, yeah, like our flagship cuvée, we would say. It's what we put in most work with.
It's a labor of love.
We had a crazy idea of how far can we push an apple. And basically I think we pushed it pretty much as far as we could with the type of apples that we had, which was, I think, 7 weeks last year. And this is mainly the varieties like Ribston and Husmoder and Baldeboskop, and they are all very, 5% wild apples from 500 meters from here. And basically those apples are like the really late varieties. They're really hard. They don't go like, what do you call that texture when it becomes like? Mushy, yeah, like, yeah. It falls apart. Yeah, like Ingrid Marie, we talked about that earlier, but it's like, it decomposes and just becomes mush. Like this holds up its shape throughout all of those 7 weeks, which is, it keeps the structure, it's easy to press after, and it has a ton of like tropical flavors that come later. Like if you would do a direct press, you would never get them. It's still a really good apple for direct press, but it really sings when you're doing it this way. And basically we just crush all the apples and we leave them, turning them like every other day for 7 weeks, which is a shit ton of work.
A lot of work.
But yeah, it's worth it.
Tell us about your definition of cider.
Good question, and I think it's like very different from where you come from. But for us, and not by any means is that the same definition as in Sweden, where it's 15% fruit. For us, it's 100% fruit, regardless of what it is. We usually have a base of just apples and pears that accounts for 90% pretty much. But for us, it's still like a cider. It's not necessarily a fruit wine. It's still the apples and the pears that drives the base of it.
You do pretty much everything manually by hand in this cidery. Would you continue to do that? Or?
We try to identify stuff that takes way too much time for us to do by hand, but we haven't really seen a huge need to automate or like to really invest in crazy equipment. It's not a hard process to follow. It's very simple. Like you crush the fruit, you press the fruit, maybe some maceration in between, but all in all, it's very low tech. Like you don't need a lot. That's the beauty of it. Like you could do this on a very slim budget as well, which we've been doing. Still, it costs money, but it's nowhere near like starting a brewery or stuff like that. It's completely the opposite, I would say.
You just expanded the premises here. How long will it last?
We hope we can stay here for a few more years, maybe get the space just next door to sort of expand for a warehouse. But I mean, we're trying to build up right now. It's good ceiling heights here, but it gets full like very fast, which we just got a new like truck, so now we can actually use the height. But yeah, hopefully we can next year double what we're doing this year and still be here. We love this space and it's a nice environment here.
Will you be taking the customers here?
Yeah, we've been planning to sort of open a tasting room here, hopefully sometime in the spring, once things calm down a bit with the production and everything's bottled and we can relax a bit more. We want to bring more people here. I think it makes a lot of sense to just show how things are done, to actually show the real side of like a craft cider or fruit wine or fruit pet nat, whatever you want to call it. I mean, we're here working hard, like it's hard work, and there's no like shortcuts to that, and it's very, very hands-on. Yeah, it actually does a huge difference. It's 600 liter tanks last year basically, which is good.
Where will you be in 10 years?
Oh goodness.
Do you think?
Hopefully doing this full time and not running around like chickens with our heads cut off and making every mistake possible, and we've learned from all those mistakes. And having fun with it, as always. That's the most important thing.